Hey everybody, welcome back. Perrin Lovett here for the Prepper Post News, courtesy of Freedom Prepper and Freedom Roasters Coffee on Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. And hello to everybody watching at YouTube, Freedom Prepper, the freedompreppercommunity.com, and everybody listening to our slowly growing but popular podcast found at Anchor and Spotify and a few other places. You know the drill. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Please, I saw a couple of comments that were made, I guess, the end of last week. Spread the word, because this is, we do have some information here. It's funny, I report the news as it's typically reported elsewhere. I put my own spin on it, which sometimes people agree with, sometimes they don't, but it's always different, and I just want you guys to think about things. So that's why we do what we do. Information that people don't necessarily get anywhere else, but they need to. And I understand that this time of year, especially this year, with a few things that have happened, everybody's a little down. That's natural, but time to come back up. We got stuff to do. Starting with a story that I kind of ignored at the beginning of the week as I was trying to catch up on some stuff. But Sunday we had Super Bowl LV. And for the government school kids, that's 55 in, I think that's, Aussie and Ruin numbers. But Tampa Bay won their second Super Bowl. Tom Brady won his seventh, a record for any player. A growing gap between him and the rest of the best. And I had said, I know a lot of people, these days, myself included, people have checked out of the popular culture and the hijacking of American professional sports. And I fully understand that. The Super Bowl was the only football period that I watched all year. And I watched it without listening to the sound while I was doing other things. Interesting game, 55,000 cardboard cutouts cheered on the two teams. The Chiefs, by the way, did a fought to the end, never gave up, even though it was a rather lopsided performance. I was really happy just to see just competitive excellence all over the place. I mean, every single player on, I want to say New England, Tampa Bay, was clicking perfectly, and Brady, he may be going for 10 or 12 rings. Technically, Bill Belichick has 8 as a coach, so I guess he'll want to get 2 more so he can be. Then he'll be looking at Green Bay that, technically has, I think, 12 or 13 championships of one kind or the other. So Mr. Brady will be playing forever. I said the main thing that's important about Brady is his mindset. Never give up. Never settle for anything other than the absolute best. Whatever it is you're trying to do, use his tenacity and determination as a role model. If you're 10% the Tom Brady of whatever it is you do, you'll be better than the other 90% of the people trying to do it. Here we go. But some people were not happy. Some people were not happy all over the place down there at Raymond James. I saw this and I just had to include it. So Tom showed up, and a lot of people don't like him just because he's a winner, and people can't stand a winner, especially the usual suspects. We had and when he walked in, apparently he was not wearing a mask. He didn't play in a mask. He played in a helmet, but not a mask. Seattle journalist David Kronman wrote, "Considering everything actually happening in that stadium, I doubt this actually matters, but a dude as famous as Tom Brady should just do the right thing and wear a mask. I think I have to turn off this game. It's making me angry." Good. I mean, I can't even. Can you? Good. Get angry with your hoax idiocy, your journalism. Also, we had higher profile people that kind of got slighted. Just before the game started, and I did not see this part. I didn't watch the halftime show. I'd never heard of any of these performers, which I think is a good thing. I didn't watch any of the cartoon or the cartoon commercials because I understand this year they weren't advertising anything. I saw that we had first female referee ever. That's just great. And we had the crazy guy running on the field who was tackled. The subject of security brutality. Don't do that. But before the game started, our president, Joseph R. Biden Jr., is the president of the United States, the United Socialist States of whatever this is. He came on, he was beamed in to the big screen, and he had some words of gloom and doom about the very dark winter. And he asked everybody to take a moment of silence. And the fans responded by showing just how popular our elected president is by booing him relentlessly during the moment of non-silence. So, popular culture dissidents with you 100%, 99%. They have done an excellent job of weaponizing our sports, our entertainment, our whole society against us. It's very nice and refreshing just to see a little hint of the pendulum swinging the other way. So let me know what you think about that or any of the other fun topics here. I've got these a little larger so I can almost read them this morning. We've got some more stories about things that are just going to be around forever. Forever is a long time. I mean, at least for the next, 80 to 100 years. Your lifetime, these things will be around, such as the coronavirus. SARS-2, COVID-19 will be with us forever. So says the Wall Street Journal. Vaccination drives hold out the promise of curbing COVID-19, but governments and businesses are increasingly accepting what epidemiologists have long warned. The pathogen will circulate for years or even decades, leaving society to coexist with COVID-19 much as it does with other endemic diseases like flu, measles, and HIV. And the same people that were glooming and dooming about this last year and now were glooming and dooming about HIV back in the 80s and 90s. They were telling us that we were all of us going to drop dead from that disease. And obviously, you and I didn't, nor did just about anybody else, because somehow we learned to live with it. The flu, the cold, other coronaviruses and rhinoviruses, any kind of virus. We have immune systems. We wash our hands. What we're going to be stuck with forever are idiots in the press trying to... Anyway, before I get banned, they're also rigging, they have come up with new and better statistical models to help us. It's not rigging. It's not like they took what was working forever, and changed it to maybe get a certain fake point across. This is something that this is a Bill Sardi article, full of great information and a really cool demonstrative chart, which I'll put up here. This is something I was talking about into the summer, because I think that's when I discovered it. I had suspected it from the start, but back in March, certain authorities changed the way that certain things are counted so as to make it look like there is, I think it's 16 and a half times more of something than there really is. Somebody, I guess Bill, says that this change violated U.S. law, but we know that the law no longer matters anymore. I've got a few more stories about that, but take a look at this chart. With the metrics we had up until March of last year, things would have not been so bad. Certain things that we, here with our absence of the First Amendment can't really name. Now they look much worse, even as modeled by the numbers. The underlying thing hasn't changed at all. Somebody once said lies, damn lies, and statistics. But you get a cool chart out of it with color coordination to help everybody. Here's some things that nobody's talking about. The Pope, the real Pope, Benedict XVI, is terrified at what he is allowed, what has happened since he was robbed of his position by the fake Pope, who is intent on finishing off the Catholic Church. All these changes going on the past 50 to 100 years. Fill in the blank for your church, your denomination. It's very similar. It's been a different process because the Catholic Church is so large and so regimented. It takes a lot to change it, but at the same time, they have such broad scope and authority. If they make a big change like, I don't know, Vatican II, you get a whole lot at once, and then they just slowly clean up later. Take a look at this story from the Express. I know a lot of you are in Orthodox churches, old school Latin Rites churches, fundamentalist Baptist, independent churches. If your preacher has not commanded that you wear a mask this past year, God bless you and him. Here's something. Here's something that people used to talk about. It kind of went away last year. Everybody works in an office these days. If you don't, you're kind of lucky. I'm sitting right now on a stool. We work and we sit. We sit and we sit. And when we're not working, we're still sitting. We're sedentary people. That was bad before. COVID came along, and that equals work, if you still have a job, at home, which has some benefits actually, but it leads to more sitting in the comfort of your own home all day. And all this sitting equals bad health, combined with other factors too. It was a problem before. It's apparently been made much worse, and everybody tends to forget that. So just, get up and move. There are calculators available online that will tell you, based on your age, sex, that's one of only two genders, weight, height, and a level of activity, how much you need to eat and how much you need to move around to kind of keep a baseline. Easy stuff once you get used to it. Something else nobody has talked about except for Thomas DeLorenzo, and this is right in his wheelhouse. We have a lot of talk about insurrection these days. I hadn't heard about it myself, but the same people that were screaming insurrection, rebellion, civil war today kind of sound like the people that were screaming that, I don't know, 160 years ago, pointing the finger at an entire half of the country basically as being bad people, and they're going to do bad things to them. They decry, and this is a great historical example. He's got all kind of atrocities committed by the people that were complaining about the bad people. So if they're calling you bad, you might be on the right track. Take a look at that, courtesy of Lou Rockwell's site. Now back to the law, and this year, Donald Trump, who SNL referred to as a former social media influencer, is being impeached for the second time. That like Tom Brady's rings, that's a record. Being impeached so they can throw him out of office, even now, a month or almost a month after he's left office. Make of that what you will. Some people say it violates the Constitution, but I mean that's like the federal law governing administrative agency statistical changes. It doesn't matter anymore. He has been forbidden. The reason they're impeaching him is because he made certain claims about something that we can't talk about that led to something bad, as they say. The bad people say it was bad. And now they're impeaching him for that. And but they're saying that he can't address the underlying thing that might have been, like it was like a theft of some kind. I don't understand it myself. I certainly don't want to get banned. But he can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. You can't talk about it. Neither can he. He's not even going to show up, I don't think. Although it would be hilarious if he did. Not that this circus has any merit or meaning, because Rand Paul floated that test motion a few weeks ago that kind of let us know where the vote's going to fall, and it will be short of a 2/3 supermajority necessary to remove him from office, the office that he's already vacated. So why even report on what happens in the imperial capital anymore? Oh, because it could get us all vaporized. U.S. Stratcom, the people who control America's aging, decaying nuclear arsenal, are warning that nuclear war is once again a real possibility. With who? Well, with the usual suspects, Russia and China. this was not a thing for 4 years for some reason. Actually, it hasn't happened the whole time we've all had nuclear weapons. Hopefully, it will never happen. But at least we have a peace candidate in the White House now. Thank you, Joe Biden, for keeping us safe from what your people now are telling us is a real possibility. And if there's anybody to get us into this, it would be President Harris. President, the guy that got booed at the Super Bowl. All right, more personal stuff that really matters for you. You're not, you can't face down a MK-53, and they're not going to listen to you in Washington at all. But you do walk the streets sometimes, and sometimes, especially these days, you might run into a bad person, a crazy person, a criminal who means you harm. I've got a story with a rather violent and distressing but educational video. This is from Fox 5 DC. This is the second place I had to look. The first place ran a social media video that was canned for obvious reasons. This again is a little on the distressing side, but what it is a Maryland police officer who has pulled over and stopped a man, a rather tall man, who is obviously insane or high on something. And he's armed with a stick. He speaks loudly and he carries a big stick and he beats the officer with it. Taser did not work on him. A walking retreat, words, stop, please stop, don't, stop. That didn't work. Nothing worked except for the sidearm. And it took the entire magazine to stop him. So take a look at that. Take a look at the closing distance, the level of force necessary. Hopefully you will never be in that position. I feel sorry for the officer and for the poor crazy guy. But we need to learn from these things. If you're in such a situation and you're not wearing body armor and you're not trained to deal with this, you might be better off going for the extreme option first. Or else, because if it wasn't literally a tree branch stick, if it had been a steel pipe or knife or machete or another gun, things might have ended differently. Things may end differently in Nevada, where apparently the governor has signed one of the worst sounding laws I've ever heard of. The Las Vegas Review-Journal didn't have many details, and I don't want many. Welcome to Big Techville. They've passed a law that would allow unspecified technology companies, like the ones who won't let you talk about certain things and just keep kicking people off, they're going to allow them to buy land and form towns and institute local governments. Do not move to one of these tech company towns. What could go wrong? Everything. And that brings me to my last word of the day. This is also a personal prepper item. The last word is smartphones. Maybe it's time to ditch them. I've got a Old Roosh. Old Roosh came through with another great column about his trek away from the Android smartphone, iPhone, spy phone, just to a plain old-fashioned, numbers and number dialing, no internet phone, no apps, and how he had to adjust to that. It is, it's a hard habit for most people to break now, but again, we didn't have these things even 15 years ago, so it's not going to be that hard. People do point out to him, and he acknowledges that, hey, this thing, even this dumb phone, has a transceiver in it. So they can still track you if nothing else. They may not be able to watch or listen to you, but they can see where you are. You might want to consider ways around that, such as a Faraday cage or some other physical mechanism to shield the phone's signal from the outside world and all those prying eyes. Don't assume that if you turn it off, it's completely off. Don't assume if you take out the big obvious battery that there's not a little bitty one. Oh, what do they call them? A CMOS battery? Just pinging, just letting it ping. Seal it up inside some kind of metal shielding and let it be silent. They won't know who you are or where you are, and that might be the way to go if you value your privacy. And because of all the above stories, maybe you should. Maybe you should check in tomorrow when I'll be back with more fun and excitement here at the Prepper Post News. Y'all have a great Hump Day Wednesday. God bless.